My boyfriend cheated on me during quarantine. In April of last year, when we were still under lockdown, I, 26 female, discovered that my boyfriend, 27 male, of 2 years had been cheating on me for almost a month with a local female he met on Tinder. They'd never met because of COVID, but reading their texts was nasty and devastating. It was as if I didn't know him at all. I only found out when I needed to borrow his phone since mine had died and I had an urgent call to make. While reading the letters, my stomach turned, I grew dizzy, and worst of all, I felt a searing ache through my heart. I felt as if my life was being broken in front of me, and all I could do was watch. I'd never felt anything like it before, and I had no idea what to do. I was enraged, sad, broken, hurt, betrayed. Everything hit me all at once. I couldn't believe what was going on around me. I grabbed screenshots and sent them to myself. When I got home an hour later, the first thing I asked him when I opened the door was, "Do you still love me?" in a really lovely tone, pretending to be sweet and stuff, and he was like, "Of course, baby, more than everything else in the world." So I reacted to him. "Then why are you cheating on me?" For the first 10 seconds, his face became white, and he denied it. He was stunned when I told him I had read everything. He was profusely apologizing. After that chat, I ended my relationship with him. The point is, this was during the lockdown, and we were living together someplace in Asia at the time. We were unable to leave. Hotels had been closed. It was difficult for us to visit our friends' homes. We were shackled to each other. It was the most difficult period of my life. I informed him that we could remain in our apartment until the limitations were removed, and then he could go. He concurred. By the way, the day after I discovered he was cheating on me was his birthday. And of course, being his girlfriend, I had arranged food and decorations for his birthday weeks before. I opted not to cancel everything I'd bought, and instead carried on with my birthday party as planned. It was nearly ideal, except for the fact that we were split up. I didn't cancel it because I wanted to show him how much he doesn't deserve me. For his birthday, I treated him sweetly and respectfully. He didn't give me 2 items. He told me I didn't have to do anything before the dinner arrived. We could just cancel everything. I declined since we had already paid for it. But the truth was that I simply wanted him to realize what he had lost. A woman who really cares about him and would go to great lengths to make him happy. His mother contacted him late at night, and he informed her about the little party I planned for him. "I am so delighted that you have Sarah, not my actual name, there with you. You are very blessed to have her," his mother added. That's when he burst into tears. He recognized what he had given up. And for what purpose? For the naked. To make you feel special. Want to try something new. That's when he claimed it wasn't worth it to cheat. I simply walked away after looking at him. He broke me, but in the process he ruined himself. It may take some time for me to be able to trust again, but I know I did nothing wrong and gave our relationship all I had. Story 2. I, 24 male, adopted my little sister, 8 female. After our parents passed away, GF, 23 female, isn't so excited about it. My parents were traveling back from my uncle's home outside of town last month when they spotted a moose on a lonely road in the forest. My father, who was driving, swerved at high speed and crashed into a tree. They both died on the scene. They were found the following day by a passerby, since it was not a frequently utilized route. My sister has been living with my grandma, who I dislike. When I was a youngster, she would strike me, most of the time rightfully, but often sometimes unjustifiably. She said that she does not want to adopt my sister. So the next best alternative was me, which I readily accepted since we are extremely close, and in the end, she is my family and I adore her. My sister moved in with my GF 2 weeks ago. Clearly, she is still traumatized by what happened to our parents. We were both extremely close to them, and they were wonderful people. She still doesn't speak much, primarily to me and sometimes to my GF. We take her to therapy twice a week, and she has made significant progress in such a short period of time. Yesterday, after staying in my sister's bed until she fell asleep, I went to mine and my GF room, and she indicated that we needed to discuss about this scenario. She said that since my sister came in, we haven't had much time for one another. It's a valid argument, We've only had once, while my sister was gone, and even then I wasn't very interested. She advised me to reconsider the adoption and maybe give her to my uncle and aunt. My uncle isn't permitted to work due to a heart ailment, and since he didn't work long before being diagnosed, his disability fund isn't very large, and my aunt works at a senior home, which clearly doesn't pay much. They also pay for my cousin's university bills while caring for my younger cousin, who is just 5 years old. My GF is in her last year of university, so we don't have much money either. Thankfully, I got a job after university in my profession that pays well, but it's been difficult financially. However, I will soon begin getting government subsidies for adopting my sister. My GF said that she isn't ready to become a mother, and that having all of the obligations of a parent, which I can understand, is difficult, and that it has placed a significant pressure on our relationship, which is also true. We used to go home from work and university and be done for the day, but now we have to pick up my sister from school, drive her to the therapist, and also take care of her a lot while she's home since she doesn't like being alone. I told her that while she makes valid points, when it comes to my sister, I can't just throw her away because it's not easy, it won't be easy, and I have to ride it out, but she doesn't. It probably wasn't the right thing to say because it set her off, and she said who I would pick if I had to choose between my sister and her. I didn't respond, and we got into a verbal spat, after which I fell asleep on the sofa, exhausted by all that had happened recently. I'd like to add that my girlfriend and I have been together for 9 years. She knew my parents and they liked her. She also knew my sister from infancy, and I simply don't see how she could make me choose between them. I love both of them and don't want to lose any of them. I believe I need assistance on what to do or say to my GFs since I am at a loss. Edit. I also want to clarify that contrary to popular belief, I did not take my sister without first consulting with my GF. We discussed it extensively and she said that we must get her to return home to us no matter what, which is why I was astonished by what she had to say. Edit 2. I also wanted to thank everyone for their fantastic advice and sympathies. Even though we're all strangers here, receiving words of encouragement is wonderful and truly meaningful and useful. Thank you very much. Update. I'm driving my sister to therapy in a few minutes, and when I come home, my GF and I will speak about it all. Update 2. So, we ended up talking about it for a long, and this is what happened. My GF first apologized profusely for the previous night, saying she behaved like a spoiled little brat and that it was not acceptable. I told her that I still loved her the same even though what she said was hurtful, and that I understand it's a big leap for her, and that she doesn't need to be a mother, just a friend or big sister to my sister, and that I don't want to push any responsibilities on her, and that if she'd like, we could both take a break from each other to process this. She refused and said she processed it, and admitted that what she said was she said that she regretted what she said almost immediately, but that the harm had been done, and that I would break up with her, and that she was afraid to approach me as a result. Next, she informed me that she didn't intend to force me to choose between them, and that if someone asked her that question if she were in that circumstance, she would drop them, and that she was grateful for me deferring that choice until we spoke about it. She said it stemmed from her feelings of estrangement from me, as well as jealousy that I was spending so much time with my sister yet had to spend less time with her as a consequence. She knows why I need to take care of my sister while she's in pain, and she said she wants to assist me with that as much as she can, and that she wants to help me get through this as well. She admitted that I'd been her everything for the past 13 years, and that for those 2 weeks she thought she was losing me, which terrified her, but after talking about it with some of her close friends, she realized she wasn't losing me. Just that a very important thing had popped up in my life that needed to be taken care of, and it was going to take a lot of my attention, which was previously focused mostly on her. She stated that she wants me to know that I can rely on her in terms of responsibility for my sister, and that she will do her best to be good to my sister, and I can see that, in comparison to yesterday or the day before. My GF really tried with my sister today, initiating conversations with her, and assisting her with homework and clothes shopping before going to the therapist today. It felt as if I had seen my GF grow from a kid to an adult in the span of a single day. I also confessed some of my flaws, such as ignoring her during the last few weeks, even though I realize it was unintentional, and not really giving her much of a voice in whether my sister would come here to stay. We agreed on a few things, including the fact that we should definitely go to therapy sooner rather than later. She suggested leaving my sister with my aunt and uncle for a few hours over the weekend, while we go and sort that out, and that we need to be able to balance our time more efficiently so that we can have at least a little more time to reconnect with each other. Then she apologized for not assisting me in grieving or making time to do so, and she said that our disagreement was a wake-up call for her not being supportive enough of me through what transpired lately, and that she would do anything she can to make amends. It was at this time that the whole month slammed at me like a freight train. I sobbed a lot as she was embracing me and saying words of encouragement and comfort to me during the entire affair, helping me to release everything I'd been holding onto for the previous month. This was my GF, as I knew her a really kind person, and I sincerely hope that what she exhibited 2 days ago wasn't her true face, as some are claiming, but rather a response to insecurity, but only time will tell. I believe that was a good thing to do, and there's obviously a lot more where that came from, but it's a start in the right way. When I got home with my sister, we all played cards and I felt like we were a family, which is a nice sensation. As of the time I'm writing this, I put my sister to bed, and she didn't take long to go asleep tonight, drifting off after a forehead kiss and some hugging. I'm sitting on the couch in the living room right now, my girlfriend is taking a shower, and we're going to watch a movie together, and honestly, I'm grateful to everyone who gave me advice over the last few hours. I don't think I could have kept a level head as much if so many people hadn't offered different points of view and sound advice. One thing I learned through this event is that communication is essential, particularly in times of stress like this, and that before making critical choices, it's a good idea to speak to your spouse and see if they have an explanation for what they did, while also being prepared for the worst. I went into the conversation with my GF ready to break up if her perspective didn't change because, like it or not, my sister is a priority for the time being, and I think that 2 days ago my GF didn't understand why and couldn't accept it. But after talking to her and explaining why I have to take care of my sister in this manner, she now understands and accepts it. Once again, thank you to everyone who provided advice, and although this is a wonderful community, I hope I never find myself in a terrible situation like this where I need to seek guidance. However, who knows what may happen.